right, welcome back. You're still watching Morning Live. Now, the South African Hip Hop Summit is a one-day event set to address current issues relevant to the local hip hop scene. The conference is set to speak about a range of topics from music distribution to drug abuse amongst the artists in an effort to find workable solutions. The event will be happening today at the Museum Africa in Newtown, Johannesburg. For more, we're joined by the founder, Osmic Menoe. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. All right, let's give background into the Hip Hop Summit.
Yeah.
Where did it start? What was the inspiration behind the summit to talk about this one genre?
Well, as I'm sure you're well aware, we do the Back to the City Hip Hop Festival and the South African Hip Hop Awards. And at Back to the City, so before in the morning we've got a summit. It's a very small summit. It's about 3-4 hours, you know. So a lot of people are always saying, but can't you do this thing for a whole day, you know? Because there's a range of issues that I think the culture is currently experiencing that some people aren't even aware of, you know? So it was only fitting to say, you know what, it's about that time because, you know, we're achieving, you know, so there's a whole lot of crazy stuff happening into the culture, you know. There's, you know, there's depression, there's drug abuse, there's all these things, you know. And hip-hop is the current rock star, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if we don't sit down and actually speak about this, you know, what does it mean being a rock star? At some point in time, we're going to open our eyes and find that the rock star has faded away.
Yeah, but is it not just a talk shop? What then happens? It's hip-hop people talking about issues that are affecting them.
It's not talking, it's more resolving, you know? That's the difference I think we're trying to do at the summit, because a lot of times, yes, you find that in a summit or conference, it's talk shop, and then we'll see you next year again. But this time around, because we're so entrenched in the culture and with some of the activities that we do, I think we are able to affect change. Hence we decided to say, you know what, let's converge at this, you know, this pilgrimage in Newtown, and let's start speaking about these issues at hand, and let's see how do we, you know, go forward.
Yeah. Who's on the panel?
It's a lot of speakers, just to name a few. Before we speak about the panel, I mean, the interesting is some of the topics we've chosen. We've got a topic, for instance, called the future of the culture, and where we've got like a psychologist. We got a guy called Teto, he's a psychologist. We got guys like Sturday, you know, we've got Ricky Rig, you know, we've got Vusilio. So these are people that have been in the culture. These are people that have impacted on the culture, and I think these are people that can advise on the culture. You know, that's where we look at things like, you know, depression, because what people don't know currently is that hip hop is going through a depression. Because you find a lot of these hip-hop kids killing themselves, you know, which makes sense if you think about it. Because if a guy's been rapping for 20 years, he feels he's the best of the best, and then Casper comes out, he fills up a dome, and he's like, why not me? You know what I'm saying? So we've got those. We've got a section called entrepreneurship, which obviously looks at what does it mean to be an entrepreneur within the culture. So I think we've got Casper's there as well, you know, to speak about all some of these movies he's making. So there's a lot of guys that have contributed and are currently making a living off this culture, you know. So there's a range of artists. But I mean, for more detail to also read about some of our guests, then people can log on to the site, which is www.sahiphopsummit.com.
What are you hoping will come out of the summit?
I'm hoping what will come out is the clear path, and for us to gauge where we are in this current times in terms of, you know, where hip-hop is. Because you must understand, for instance, for a person like myself, my 9 to 5 is hip-hop. So I've never had a job. So all I've been doing is literally hip-hop, you know? So, and there's a lot of us, and there's starting to be a lot of us in these sort of positions, you know? So, and it only makes sense for, I think, for those sort of people to start knowing, cool, in terms of CV, where are we?
Yeah.
You know, do we have 20 years to go? Do we have 5 years to go? Do we have 100 years to go? You know what I'm saying? Can our kids live off, you know, what we're doing? You know, just like when your mom, you know, was a teacher and then she retires and then Nale pension, can we have pension? You know, can we have hip-hop pension? You know what I'm saying? So these are the sort of things we're hoping to look at. And I mean, it's the first annual, And I'm sure, there will be a few glitches here and there, but going forward, the hope is that at some point in time we can sit down and actually write our own hip-hop Bible that says, look, this is the guide for you to actually, live off this art form.
How do you get the industry and hip-hop heads, so to speak, to buy into the concept in an industry where there's always about beef? Like, hip-hop is about beef.
Well, because everything I do usually is the one that ends up uniting the people. Because if you look at, for instance, the South African Hip Hop Awards, when it first came out, it was a bit tricky. It was 5 years ago. It was people's like, nah. Then there was this beef, there was that beef. But gradually, you ended up finding the whole culture under one roof. And when I say the culture, I'm talking from the graffiti artists to the break dancers, to the producers, all in one roof, having a good laugh, So it's literally looking at that format to say, well, if I was able to do it with the summit, if I was able to get 25,000 people to buy into this hip-hop thing every single year, well, let me see if I can try buy, them into sitting down and listening to the so-called captains of, this industry.
Yeah.
And for the mere fact that in 2 days we had 250 tickets gone, because the venue takes about 220 people. So 250 tickets are gone literally in 2 days. And what that says to me is that there's a big appetite for this. There's kids that want to hear, there's kids that want to understand, and there's kids that want to learn. Let's
talk about those kids. And you touched on an important issue that, hip-hop is going through a depression at the moment. And when South African hip-hop has finally found its sort of identity, its sort of shape, shouldn't then be the opposite happening, that everybody's finding that space, that the industry is big enough?
Not really, because remember, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. Not everyone can make it, And as you've seen, there's always like a top 10 or top 15, and the top 15 usually will do extremely well, And you also tend to find that before that top 15, there was a top 5, So the question is, where's that top 5? Where's that top 10?
Right.
So it's for them to step up and start speaking about some of the things that the top 15 should be looking for, Because I'm not trying to see some of these big artists in 20 years' time, reading on the papers that we all gotta contribute 5 rand to bury them. We're not trying to see that, knowing very well that everyone is, doing extremely well right now. But it only makes sense now to start saying to these kids that are on the come up, you need to be careful of 1, 2, 3. You need to understand your paperwork. You need to understand where the money is, so that even when they jump into it, they're jumping into it understanding what exactly they're getting into. Because if you remember, or if you look at it, is that there's no trail, there's no set paperwork, there's no book that you can pick up that says how to be successful in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? But you've got all these guys, achieving, and when we say achieving, guys is making crazy money. You know what I'm saying? And with crazy money comes crazy problems, and no one is there to say, okay, guys, let's speak about your crazy problems, and that's the hope. That we hope in the summit will kind of look into.
All right, Osmic, thank you so much. Osmic Menoe is the founder of the SA Hip Hop Summit. For more updates on the event, follow them on social media, or their website is www.sahiphopsummit.com.